Hey everybody, welcome back to Steve's Garage. Another beautiful day here in Western Mass, and glad to have everybody come back for another episode of What the Hell's Going On Now. So, my last video that you probably saw within the last few days, we were making the metal for this fender here, and we're only making, trying to keep it an hour or less, obviously, and so there's only so much you can do. So I did do a lot more work on this, a couple more hours work after you guys, saw the end of the film, and got it in place. We'll talk about this afterwards. But the first thing I want to get to is Henry Ford and marijuana. Well, of course, we all know that Henry Ford was a teetotaler, and no drugs and alcohol for Henry. So I don't think he could have, because he was a busy man. So I've got some information here about Henry Ford's hemp car. Now, I've been watching all of Henry Ford's, documentaries and reading up on everything he's got. Never once heard of this. And I can show you the picture here. And I got this off the old www. There's Henry Ford right there. And this is the hemp car, Ford's hemp car, grown from the soil. And they even put a little marijuana leaf on the side, but that's kind of a joke, I'm sure. And so what it says is that unfortunately, the prototype for the hemp body car was never put into production due to the onset of World War II. All automobile production in the United States was curtailed significantly during the war, and Ford's plastic experiment car would be put on hold. Eventually, the prototype was destroyed and the project was abandoned. So what he did was this whole car was all plastic body. And he took, now hemp, which, obviously it's marijuana, but if you take the stock of the marijuana plant and they smash it all down to nothing, it makes these really strong fibers. And that's what they make rope out of back in the day, called, hemp rope. We've all heard of that. And so they took these fibers and they mixed it in with the plastic, made this plastic. And there's actually a video, you can look it up online. It shows Henry Ford with a sledgehammer smashing against the car. They said that the strength was 30% lighter than a traditional metal car, and it was 10 times stronger. And it says the panels in the hemp body were only 1/4 of an inch thick. That's pretty thick. I mean, I don't know how the repairs would go if you're trying to do something with that. But it also said in here that it was, I think, 10 times stronger. It made the thing 10 times stronger. So the other thing that he did, way ahead of his time, yeah, see right here. It says the body was also constructed from which 10 times stronger than steel. So Henry Ford's first car that entirely ran on, you can barely see it right there, hemp ethanol. And then it was made from hemp plastic. Now, the small print in here says, of course, hemp was then outlawed in the U.S. in 1937 due to the potential damaging effects of it, which would have on many powerful, the damaging effect it would have on many powerful industries at the time, including oil, plastics, and paper giants, and hippies. So anyway, there you have it. A hemp car from Henry Ford. I'm pretty amazed by that. That's pretty wild. So we're having a little storm outside. It's like rain and snow, and the wind's doing about 100. So there's your tip of the day, Henry Ford's hemp car. Hey, go look it up for yourself if you don't believe me, but it's on the www, so it's got to be true. Now, the task at hand today. Let me show you what we got here. I'm going to take you out of the hooey. So this is where I wound up at the end of the day. Now, a bunch of, I put in sheet metal screws, 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom. Now, in the comments, guys were saying, have you heard of Clecos, which are a removable rivet? And of course, I've heard of Clecos. And but when you're working on this, it's like, oh, you can put it in place. The problem is when you're working on this thing, you can't screw it in when it's still, flat. You're trying to work it into place and get these corners, beat into place and stuff. You can see the body work on here where I smashed the hell out of it. Then I started smoothing out some of this edge. And then I had to take and cut some of this edge around because there's still like a 1-inch high interior, what am I trying to say, piece of steel in there from the old body. So I'm going to cut that down to about 1/4 inch or 3 inches high. And then I will cut this, marry them together and weld them. And the same over here. We'll be cutting this line in and then, welding that. And I put a little line over here. So I'll be cutting around here with the jigsaw. I got a pneumatic jigsaw. And then we will bring those pieces together and weld them in. It does look pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with it, except, you can see I've got all kinds of hammering to do. But this is as far as I'm going to bring this side until I make the other panel, because they have to be twins. So if I go over on this side with a hump, I'm going to have to put the same hump on that side. So I hope you understand what I'm getting at there. So this second panel for the other side, I started beating into place. And then the other day, after you guys, after the video was over, I took my trying to keep my hand back. Sorry about that. Hand off the camera. What the hell was that? So I took my grinder, not this wheel, it was sanding wheel, and I ground a hooey in here, a hole, or what do you want to call it, a trough. And that trough pretty much matches my beater hammer. So when I put the edge of the fender in there, right, that matched the radius. So now I have something to match both sides. Follow what I'm saying? I got to show you guys this outside, just because it's pretty crazy here right now. All you guys living in the warm countries are going to be like, whoa. So here we are in New England. Hard to see the snow coming down, but the wind is whipping. See the trees? The wind is whipping. Great day. Great day to be outside. If you're a New Englander, you love it. But if you live in Florida or Arizona, I'm sure you don't miss it. But there you have it, guys. Nice little winter storm in New England. Bonus footage. Now, so today, besides Henry Ford's Hempmobile, I think that was pretty exciting news. I don't know about you, but that kind of stuff just gets my heart pumping. If it doesn't get your heart pumping, check your pulse. Never know. You might not have a heartbeat right now. Now, this side over here, I've been videoing from the other side of the car the whole time. So the other day, actually it was yesterday, today is the 29th, I believe, somewhere in there, 28th or 9th of January, 2024. So I took, and there's a piece of steel, it's a wedge here, it goes from a 1/2 inch down to 0 about here. So I, I welded that in top and bottom, ground it back. I welded in this area here, ground it back, welded in this area, ground it back, same up here, and then started to go up here, but then I realized, I want to see if you're in that shot. Yes, you are. I realized that when I put a level across the car and check the whole car for level, because the tires, you'll make sure they're all filled the same height, because one tire is almost out of air, then the car's sitting crooked. And if you're building a car from what we're doing here, trying to take something from nothing, then you want to use levels and plumb bobs and anything you can use to make sure this thing's level. So we're high here by about a 1/4 inch going across. So I've got to manipulate this down before we start welding these seams together. I actually cut this apart the other day and still haven't made up my mind if I want to replace this piece or not, or just work with it. See if the planishing hammer I can get more out. But that's further down the road. The whole roof line, I'm going to put a patch panel in there. So today's saga is trying to get this door together. I put this was, those of you who may be new today watching this roof line is cut here, down, in and over, and I brought this forward by 21 inches, 21 and a half, and then this was an inch higher than this. So I took an inch out of this roof, including the windshield, all the way around. So I had to cut the doors down, and when I brought these down to where they need to be, there's a separation in here because cutting an inch out, took this piece when I split it, brought it forward because that front angle line, taking an inch out, drags this forward by 1/4 inch, give or take approximately. So that's where we're at, kitty cat. So let's try to get this door together today, and that'll be that for now. Another day, another donut. So I'm going to get this sucker. We're just going to kind of work along here, and you can come along for the ride. And I'll try to keep the banter to a minimum. That's as close as I can zoom on that thing. So there is a little bit of a issue right there. And it's kind of bent in here, so I'm going to try to bend that sucker out. May or may not work. All we can do is try. Get some of it out. Little is better than nothing. All right. So if you see here, this is an old, we replaced our couch a while back, and these are literally scratches from our old dog from the couch because she had sharp nails, and that was that. So we eventually replaced the couch. A piece of leather. When I was welding this, working on some welds in here the other day, a piece went down in between the door, and there was some whatever shit in the bottom there, and it smoldered and didn't catch on fire. But I'm like, oh, that could be an issue. So I put this piece of leather over, so now pieces of weld that drip on the leather, it won't go into the hole, it won't burn the leather, and so that's a little lesson for the day if you want to get a piece of leather together for while you are welding. So I'm going to turn my petrol on, gas for the welder. I hope everybody's having a great day. It's another BEA beautiful day over here. We're actually in a heat wave right now. It was 45 degrees this morning. And in New England, in January, that is great weather. It's actually melting the driveway down. My garage doors are on the north side of the house, and so we never get any sunlight over there. And it gets a little bit dangerous. And that's it. That's it. Henry Ford and the hemp mobile. How do you like that one, huh? Didn't think you were going to hear that today, did you? Let me get my hammer. One of. So, all kinds of great comments from all you guys. Really enjoy it. Having a lot of fun with it. Hold on to your ears. So if you can see, I'll just show you guys what we got going on here. See that little bit of air right there? You can see my hand behind it, right? So when I push the door in, that closes. So I'm going to weld that shut before I weld this side, because as I throw heat over here, it's going to want to drag this out as it is. Damn it. What was happening there was I in a spot where the camera's in front of me and it's dark in there. When you put the welding helmet down, you're not seeing much. So I couldn't see what the hell was going on. I had my tongue in front of my eye teeth. I couldn't see what I was saying. Now, one thing you got to learn when you weld is let the weld before you cool down, because if it gets hot, when you throw the other weld on red molten metal, it's going to blow through, and that's what I just did right there. And but that's what you got to come back and kind of just spot it in, and then you filled that hole now. So I save all that crap for when we're not making videos. You're welcome. And that's the tedious stuff. And like I said in one of my other videos, that you're constantly, trying to keep everybody entertained with what you're doing. And all the little detail things you got to come back and do later on when nobody's around. So now, you got to open this up and get these this door lined up. Oh, look, the sun's coming back out again. That's what happens around here this time of year. Fall, little weather, little squall. Little snow squall. So the inside plane of this door is flat. I'm using a piece of 1-inch bar stock here, square stock, I should say. And I'm just going to do a series of clamping to get this thing back together to square or something like it. See when you look down it. We got it in a straight line there. Sound Effects 101, fellas, huh? No charge for the entertainment. That is totally free today. Full of beans today. Hey, let me tell you a little story. I know you love stories. So, a group of guys, 4 guys from our local coffee club, and they're all hot rodders, came over today because they were dying to see what's going on here. And I was all nervous because I'm like, oh, these guys are the real deal. You know, these are old-time hot rodders, and they all build cars. So it was really a great day for me to have these guys. It was an honor, really, to have these guys come on over, and they enjoyed it. They liked what they saw. They were pretty pleased with the way I was building things, and that meant a lot. So hats off to the boys, the local coffee club. Yeah, we had a good time. We had a cup of coffee, shot the breeze. They told me a bunch of old stories. It was really cool. How's that? All we got to do is prime it and paint it now. Done. So, now what that did was made sure all my planes, because I clamped it in 2 directions, in this way and down this way, and got this thing so it's square in all directions. Now, does that mean it'll shut properly? Probably not, because this thing, as you can see from the whole roof line here, I think this thing, like a branch came down on it or something, and definitely tweaked it out. More tweaked than if you're on fentanyl on a Saturday night. So I need to cut a piece for in here. I'm going to say that's about a 1/4 inch. So we'll go over and grab our piece. Henry Ford and the hemp mobile. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. We talk about a guy, all right? So let's go back to Henry Ford and his mind. So here's a guy looking for ways, and I'm sure the way he thought, he was looking for a way to save money too, and not, it must have worked out. Maybe that came into play because there was a time when he went to, he built a factory over, I don't know, Panama or somewhere. I don't know if anybody remembers that story. But there's an old factory still standing today. You know, of course, it's kind of knocked down at this point. But it might have been Panama that he put a factory in, and but it didn't go well. I mean, all kinds of problems and that kind of thing. I don't know exactly what happened there, but he had major issues and it failed. You can look that one up too. So I'm just going to eyeball what I think we're looking at. This is the same piece that I cut off for the other side. And it worked out well. Maybe I'll take it from this side. Some old door molding there. All right. Let me plug in my plug. Plug in your plug. Put some gloves on. Put a face shield on. Hey, I'd love to have music playing, but they don't allow you to play music. So. And when I say they, I mean YouTube, because of copyright issues. I don't want the Beach Boys calling up and saying, hey, you owe me some money for playing Surfer Girl. That's life. That's life. Okay, now. I think everyone has their catchphrase, and mine's okay now. Okay now. All you got to do is put this thing together, a chair. Remember the time I cut one and it fit the first time? Pretty close. Oh no, it's pretty close. I'm gonna go over to the hooey and sand it. Hang on. Okay. After 17 trips to the grinder, we got it. Whew. I'll tell you who's not calling, Hollywood. That camera work. I'm trying to keep it in the way, in the way, so you can see it and work in between you here too. So. In your hole. Let me get my gloves. It's hot. It's getting hot. Trying to weld this small stuff. You can feel the metal twist from the heat as you weld it side to side. I think you have a good ground or something. All right, I'm going to take all the stuff off of there. I lost my other pair of gloves. Swear to God, you put this stuff down and it runs across the shop mocking you. I'm over here. Well, it's sunny out now. You know what they say about New England. If you don't like the weather, wait a few minutes and it'll turn. So we're gonna have all kinds of lines to fill afterwards. Like all this, you know, this whole top. I may wind up cutting all this out and running a 1/4-inch round rod here to make all that up. This is all like been burnt through from, you know, when they did whatever repair here. You can see it. See, that's all shot right there. So this is all going to be cut out. So the more I look at it, the more, yeah, you know, you got to make the decision like, okay, we're screwed. Let's just do it and get it done. So this has to come in. So I'm going to use a clamp. So Henry Ford, hey, you didn't know you were going to learn today about Henry Ford and the marijuana car. I think that's pretty wild, to tell you the truth. Pretty cool. Well, I don't know about cool, but history, you know? Henry probably said, well, I can build that car for $100 cheaper now if we use hemp. Yeah, but I'm thinking now that might tie in with that factory he built way the hell down there, which was a big flop, by the way. Never worked out. Let's see that? That's what I'm talking about right there. Whoop. Got a fire. Something down in here smoldering. I get some water. So this should be something else we talk about. I've got 3 fire extinguishers out here, but I never want to use one unless I absolutely have to, because it makes such a disaster. But you can see the smoke now. See it coming out on the bottom there? So what I do is I keep water bottles around and just fill it up. Throw some water in there. That'll put it out. It'll dry overnight, obviously, but now the fire's out. And, you know, when I'm welding and all that kind of stuff, I stay out here. When I'm done for the day, I finish early enough where I know I can be out here for a while. And I keep checking the car. And I keep checking my surrounding area to make sure, you know, any sparks didn't roll anywhere and nothing's smoldering. But see that line now? Nice and straight down that door. That's what we're shooting for. So we're building the door straight, and however it sits in the hole will have to be adjusted afterwards. Follow me? Are you following me, boy? I'm saying listen to me now. So, looks pretty darn good. A lot of lines to move around though. You know, like I said, all this, you know. So there it is. Old Henry, I think he'd be proud of that car. So that's that. And We'll keep working on this fender for the other side. So now, got to do all my shrinking here, all the shrinking here to gather this around. And I shrunk this panel all the way up into here and around the corner. So I gathered all this steel to roll over. So that is our next area of in need. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for coming back. 40-minute video today to show you we put the door together. We got the other side going. When I'm making all these videos, I made it off on the driver's side because I had more room in the shop to work, but in turn neglect all the work that has to go on the other side. So I want to get all that wrapped up and tight before I start making this fender in case anything moved around over there. So that's it for today. So the word of the day is hemp, Henry Ford, and plastic. I only imagine he probably was talking like a Bakelite type of plastic because he made, in his Model A's, the distributor is a Bakelite top. It's a very hard plastic. It was very common back then. And they use it in making radios and all kinds of other stuff. Knobs and all the old cars, they have all Bakelite. So look it up, Henry Ford and the Hempmobile. Or not Hempmobile, but hemp car. And that's it. So again, thanks for all the new subscriptions. Thanks for the great comments. Thanks for all the support. 99% good comments. Here and there, you get a rotten egg, but that's the way it goes. We're all humans, right? But thank you very much. We'll see you on the next time. We'll get that other side done. Then we'll be heading for this trunk line, and we will be building the trunk from scratch. And I just want to show you, before we part, the spare tire in place. And I think it looks really cool. I think the car looks great with it. I think it's just one other piece that we can decorate when we go to paint it. I have a really cool paint scheme in mind for this thing, which is going to be multicolored. And I think it's going to be a really cool project when we're done. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great week, great weekend, and we'll see you next time.